Are you addicted to ejaculate? It's a simple question. A yes or no will suffice. But how would you know if you're addicted to ejaculate? Can you spend a week without ejaculating? Can you spend a week without the desire, the strong craving to ejaculate? If the answer is no, my friend, you are probably addicted to ejaculate. And we live in a society where ejaculating is the norm, whether it's with women, whether it's through porn, whether it's with yourself, whatever the case might be. There's many ways for you to ejaculate. And it's simple, it's something very easy to do. But the problem, the more we ejaculate, the more we get hooked on getting addicted to that ejaculation. And the more, unfortunately, we waste that precious sexual energy we have as male. And that sexual energy is amazing because if we are to transmute that sexual energy, we can become literally unstoppable. All things you want in life could be accelerated with taming that sexual energy because that sexual energy is truly your potential. But we live in a hypersexualized society where we think that ejaculation is the norm, whether it's through porn, as I said, or with women or by yourself. I'm telling you, the older you get, the less often you should ejaculate. Now, when you're in your 20s, you can afford to ejaculate more often because you're at the peak of your youth. Doesn't mean that you should do so because if you're in your 20s and can tame that sexual energy and be focused on something else, a worthwhile goal, there's so many things you achieve. That's what I recommend. I'm not in my 20s, I'm in my 30s. I'm 37. But if I were to go back to my 20s, I would do my very best to be sexually disciplined. I'm not saying it's easy. I was not that good when I was in my 20s. It is hard. When you love women, when you want to have sex, when you want to ejaculate, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. The process is simple, but it's definitely not easy. But if you can, I strongly recommend you take control of that ejaculation. That is not the most important thing in your life. There's so many things you can achieve right there in your 20s. So take advantage of this. Not like I did, but if you can, I strongly recommend you to. That being said, regardless of your age, the older you get, the less often you should ejaculate. There's a way to ejaculate without it taking control of you, and that is by spacing it out. You can space it out. When you're 20s, you can do it maybe once a week, if or twice a week. In your 30s, maybe once every 2 weeks. In your 40s, maybe once every 3 weeks. In your 40s and 40s and your 50s and 60s, maybe once a month, once every 2 months. There's a way to go about it. But the most important thing is to not be addicted to the ejaculation. Because if you can space it out, doesn't mean you should never ejaculate because you can. But as David Data said, the author of the Way of the Supreme Man, man should be in control of his ejaculation, not the other way around. Ejaculation should be conscious. So when you are with a woman, you can decide whether or not to ejaculate. You might think, oh, I have sex, it's normal. Who said it's normal to ejaculate? You're not having babies. If you're just having sex for love of sex, you don't need to ejaculate. You can, but it doesn't mean that you need to. And it's not easy. I've tried more than one time. It's not easy, but you get better, especially if you have a steady girlfriend. The more you are able to do it without ejaculating, the more she will crave that sex with you because she cannot possess you. That's what David Data said. A woman knows she can control you if you are constantly ejaculation, even if it's subconscious. But the opposite is also true. If she cannot get that semen from you, she knows you are in control and it is very attractive. So you have to understand there's so many benefits of you retaining that seed than constantly ejaculating and wasting your potential. Try it out. I'm telling you, Try to be on semen retention for a week or 2 weeks. You don't have to do it forever. I have another video talking about the negative effects of being on semen retention for too long. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm telling you, if you have never tried semen retention, you should try. Obviously, this channel is all about quitting porn. So quit porn. That's the number one thing. But generally speaking, if you have given up porn, you are automatically and organically on a semen retention streak because you don't masturbate as often. I tried it. Push it a bit forward and see how it goes. I'm telling you, it's life changing. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Sebastian, your addiction recovery coach, and I'll see you very soon.